In 1997, something strange echoed through the darkest parts of the Pacific Ocean. It wasn't a ship, it wasn't an earthquake, and it didn't match the sound of any known marine animal. What scientists recorded that year was so powerful that it traveled across thousands of kilometers of open ocean, detected by multiple underwater listening stations scattered across the planet. When researchers first saw the signal appear on their monitors, they realized almost immediately that they were looking at something unusual. The sound lasted for more than a minute. It began low and slowly rose in frequency, creating a haunting pattern that seemed almost alive. The signal would eventually become known as the Bloop, and for years it would remain one of the most intriguing sounds ever recorded in Earth's oceans. To understand why this sound caused so much curiosity, you first need to understand just how mysterious the ocean truly is. Covering more than 70% of the planet, the oceans are vast, deep, and largely unexplored. Even today, scientists estimate that more than 80% of the ocean floor has never been directly observed by humans. Entire ecosystems exist in darkness, miles beneath the surface, where crushing pressure, freezing temperatures, and total darkness create an environment that feels closer to an alien world than to anything familiar on land. And yet, life thrives there in ways that still surprise scientists. Strange glowing fish drift through the darkness. Massive squid hunt in the deep waters, and creatures with bizarre shapes and adaptations survive in conditions that would instantly kill most life forms. In a place this unexplored, it is not unreasonable to imagine that some discoveries may still be waiting to be made. The sound that would later be called the Bloop was detected by a network of underwater microphones known as hydrophones. These devices were originally installed to monitor activity beneath the ocean surface across vast distances. Because sound travels much more efficiently through water than through air, hydrophones can detect noises occurring thousands of kilometers away. A low-frequency signal moving through the ocean can travel enormous distances with surprisingly little loss of strength. When the mysterious signal first appeared in the data, scientists immediately noticed something unusual about its structure. The sound gradually increased in frequency over time, forming a distinctive curve that looks surprisingly similar to biological calls produced by large marine animals. Many creatures in the ocean communicate across long distances using sound. Whales, for example, produce powerful, low-frequency calls that can travel hundreds of kilometers through the water. These calls allow them to communicate with other whales far beyond the range of sight. But the Bloop was different. When scientists calculated how strong the sound must have been at its source, the numbers raised a disturbing possibility. The signal was simply too powerful. In fact, it was far stronger than the calls produced by even the largest known animal on Earth. The blue whale, the largest creature ever known to exist, can produce incredibly loud sounds that echo through the ocean. Yet even those massive whales do not generate signals on the scale suggested by the Bloop recordings. This raised a question that immediately captured the imagination of researchers and the public alike. If the sound really had been produced by a living creature, then that creature would need to be far larger than anything currently known to science. The possibility seemed almost impossible, yet the data itself could not be ignored. The sound had clearly been recorded. It had traveled across a huge portion of the Pacific Ocean, strong enough to be detected by multiple listening stations, separated by thousands of kilometers. Whatever had produced it must have been either incredibly powerful or part of a natural phenomenon that scientists did not yet understand. As researchers began examining the data more closely, they worked to determine where the sound had originated. By comparing the time at which each hydrophone detected the signal, they were able to estimate its approximate location, somewhere in the remote waters of the South Pacific. The source appeared to lie roughly between the southern coast of South America and the icy wilderness of Antarctica. This region of the ocean is one of the most remote places on Earth. Vast stretches of water there remain largely untouched by human activity, and the deep ocean beneath them is among the least explored environments on the planet. For a moment, the mystery seemed to open the door to a fascinating possibility. Could something enormous be living in those depths, far beyond the reach of modern exploration? Throughout history, the oceans have inspired countless stories about giant creatures lurking beneath the waves. Ancient sailors spoke of sea serpents, capable of dragging entire ships underwater. Legends described enormous tentacled beasts rising from the depths to attack passing vessels. For centuries, these stories were dismissed as myths or exaggerations. Yet modern science has occasionally revealed that some legendary creatures were not entirely imaginary. The giant squid, once considered nothing more than a sailor's tale, was eventually confirmed to exist through deep-sea photography and exploration. If such a massive creature could remain hidden for so long, some researchers wondered what else might still be undiscovered in the vast darkness below the surface. The deep ocean is a place where sunlight never reaches. At depths of several kilometers, the pressure of the water above becomes immense, strong enough to crush ordinary submarines. Temperatures hover just above freezing, and the environment is so extreme that only highly specialized life forms can survive there. Yet despite these harsh conditions, the deep sea is filled with strange and remarkable creatures. Some fish produce their own light through bioluminescence. Others have enormous jaws designed to capture prey in total darkness. Giant squids, capable of growing longer than a bus, drift silently through the black waters, hunting in the depths. If animals of that size could exist in the deep ocean, it was natural to wonder whether even larger, unknown species might still remain hidden. As speculation grew, scientists continued studying the mysterious signal. They compared the bloop recording with thousands of other sounds captured by hydrophones over the years. Slowly, patterns began to emerge. Although the sound had certain characteristics that resembled biological signals, other details suggested something different. Natural forces in the ocean are capable of producing surprisingly complex acoustic patterns. Underwater earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and shifting tectonic plates can all generate powerful sounds that travel through the water for vast distances. One possible explanation began to stand out as researchers expanded their analysis. Near Antarctica, enormous sheets of ice constantly move, collide, and fracture as they drift across the Southern Ocean. These massive ice formations can be hundreds of meters thick and stretch for kilometers across the frozen seas. When large sections of ice crack or break apart, they release huge amounts of energy into the surrounding water. The sound produced by these events can travel extraordinary distances through the ocean's natural sound channels. Scientists sometimes refer to these events as ice quakes. When researchers compared the bloop recording with other signals produced by large ice movements, they began noticing striking similarities. The pattern of the sound, the way its frequency changed over time, and the location where it was detected all pointed toward the same possibility. The mysterious signal might not have come from a living creature at all. Instead, it may have been produced by the sudden fracturing of a massive iceberg somewhere in the icy waters near Antarctica. Over time, additional recordings of similar sounds began to support this explanation. As scientists gathered more data, the theory that the bloop had been caused by large-scale ice movement became increasingly convincing. Eventually, researchers concluded that the most likely source of the mysterious signal was a powerful ice quake generated by shifting Antarctic ice. While this explanation solved much of the mystery, it also revealed something equally fascinating. The natural processes shaping Earth's oceans are capable of producing sounds powerful enough to travel across entire ocean basins. The deep ocean is not silent. Beneath the waves, enormous forces are constantly at work, shaping the planet in ways that humans rarely witness. Yet, even with this explanation, the story of the bloop continues to capture the imagination. The reason is simple. The oceans remain one of the least explored places on Earth. More than 80% of the ocean floor is still unmapped, and countless regions have never been visited by deep-sea exploration vehicles. Every year, scientists discover new species living in the depths, many of which look unlike anything previously known. Strange creatures with glowing bodies, transparent skin, and unusual adaptations continue to challenge our understanding of life in extreme environments. The deeper we explore, the more we realize how much remains hidden beneath the surface. The bloop serves as a reminder that the ocean is still full of mysteries. A single, unexplained sound recorded in the depths was enough to spark years of investigation and speculation. It forced scientists to examine the hidden forces shaping the ocean and to consider the possibility that unknown discoveries might still be waiting in the darkness. Somewhere in the deepest trenches of the planet, far below the reach of sunlight, entire ecosystems continue to exist without human observation. Strange animals move through the cold black water, geological forces reshape the ocean floor, and massive ice formations crack and shift in distant polar seas. In a place this vast and mysterious, it is impossible to know what future explorers may eventually discover. The bloop may have been explained, but the ocean itself remains one of the greatest mysteries on Earth. And somewhere out there, in the silent depths, other strange sounds may still be waiting to be heard.